Hey, everybody, it's Bill Couzens from Less Cancer. We've been talking about what inspires us to keep moving at so many levels. For me, it was about physical activity and exercise and coming back, dealing with some pretty intense physical setbacks. Today I've asked the guy that's been helping me for 3 or 4 years, probably closer to 4 years, Chris Forsten, to come on and have this discussion with us about inspiration and what inspires us. And Chris, by the way, has inspired me on several fronts, and he works to inspire not only people my age and working with some of us who have had setbacks, but he also works with a lot of younger folks. And so, Chris, welcome today. It's great seeing you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We're talking about inspiration. We've had a series of talks about inspiration, and it wouldn't be a conversation unless you were included. So I'm just wondering if you could share with our community a little bit about what inspires you and how you work to inspire others.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and thanks for giving me a chance to chat and be a part of the conversation. So I would say, when I think about inspiration and, motivation and, the things that have transpired in my life that have, brought me to this point, I probably have to start with my family and my mom and my father, instilling, a lot of just core values and, how we kind of go about our business on a daily basis. And that's really led me into a position where I feel like, I've assumed a leadership role, and I can really help and, motivate and inspire the people that are around me. So just by nature of the work that I do and that I perform, I'm constantly in communication with people, and I'm constantly in work with people. Right. So the job, in and of itself is kind of to inspire, right? To motivate, to draw someone's attention, maybe have them, see things a little bit differently, gain some perspective. But really the goal is to have people live their healthiest possible life, or allow the young person or the young athlete to believe it possible to achieve whatever goal or whatever dream that they're after.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say that I found you actually through social media. I saw an unlikely group of folks that you were helping, all sizes, all ages, and doing Pilates. And Pilates actually was several years ago, 15 years ago, was one of the first things I started doing after I'd had a tumor taken off of my spine. So I was fascinated by the people that you were helping, and I reached out to you. You inspired me just from that post to reach out, which I did. And so I've been working with you quite a bit, and it's been transformative for me in weight and activity. And, you've even been part of my cycling efforts, which, I don't think I rode a bike until I don't know when I was in grade school. It was in the 70s. Like, it was, the Flintstones were around, and I was a little kid. And I think I bought the last bike in Warrenton, Virginia, which was, I thought it was a girl bike, but a V frame is apparently the thing to get if you're me. And it was an e-bike. And I remember coming into you and saying, somebody's giving me a little grief on the trail. They're like, that's not fair. You're riding an e-bike. Well, eventually I rode like 6,000 miles in 3 years. And,
Right.
As Chris, you said to me, Bill, you're 6,000 miles further away from your couch, which is true. Right. And a chunk of pounds and a lot of mobility. So just through sharing your story, it inspired me and inspired others. And you mentioned your parents, and I should tell our community that your family owns a gym, and that your mom is, really a pioneer in so much of this. She's so young and active, and inspires many, many people. A lot of women she's empowered through exercise, fitness, conversations about health, elevating that awareness, all things that have worked for me and that are part of my commitment to my health and commitment to, my, which is not a perfect road, which you're welcome to share with everybody.
Never
No,
is.
it never is it? And it is, and there are tons of slip ups and fallouts. I had mentioned last time in the conversation when we were talking about inspiration. If I don't put gym clothes on every day or workout clothes every day, I forget that I have to move. If I don't come to my office where there's a yoga mat on the other side of my desk, and I don't leave until I do some work on the floor, and
Right.
I don't leave until I get on a bike. So these are all things that I set alarms for, and thanks to you, I set alarms for, and I use to help keep me moving.
They're really powerful strategies, right? I mean, when we talk about
Mhm.
just the concept of, what's 5 minutes here, what's 5 minutes there. Movement is movement. Get out and dance for a little bit, get out and jump for a little bit. Whatever it is that get you up and get you moving. Just go out there and do something. So a lot of people will say, "Well, I don't have time." Well, we often talk about, well, it's not about having time; it's about making time. And even if you just start with, 5 minutes at a time, right? That is movement. That is something. So feel a little bit of a change, feel a little bit of a shift, right, in your attention to your movement, and let those 5 minute just little play sessions or whatever it's going to be develop into something great.
Exactly. And so, just because I can't do a whole hour or a whole 20 minutes, something is something.
Right.
And I make it something. Even if we talk about parking the car across the parking lot or
Mhm.
using the steps instead of the elevator. And now
Yep.
I'm annoyed. Like somebody gets on the elevator and goes one floor. I'm like, hey, take the stairs, And I try to. If it's under 5 flights, I for sure take the stairs. And
Exactly.
so because it's an opportunity to move. And
For sure.
I'm not the most mobile guy, but I did want to talk a little bit about how you work to help train teams and inspire young, up and coming college students, find teams, stay involved, be part of it. Can you share some of those inspiring stories? Any that
Yeah, I
come
mean,
to
so I
your
think,
mind?
if we talk about, where does the initial inspiration come from, right? And then, where does it come from now, right? It's who continues to push me to be inspired and motivated to, continue to elevate myself as a coach and everything. And it's certainly, my athletes and my younger crew, the younger population that I work with. That's majority of my work at this point in the game. And you have a chance to work with just like we talked about, all ages, but now it's all walks of life, all personalities, all different types of young people that someone might be actually having a goal that really isn't sports oriented, and
Mhm.
it could be strictly that they're there to just to feel better, to move, to change things up, to find some level of confidence in, some different level of confidence in themselves that maybe they haven't found before. So I really love the opportunity to spend time with anyone that desires to elevate themselves and make a change and do something very, very positive and very, very powerful. And it's very cool to see and those inspirations, where they might be drawing from and how they might inspire others. And it's really, really cool. So I've had the chance to work with some really, really high level athletes. It's been awesome. Certainly some of those very, very highly motivated individuals inspire me to keep pushing, keep being a better coach for those guys and girls. But like I said, some of my most cherished moments don't necessarily come from that population. It could come from the other side of things, where the kid that comes through the doors, and maybe they don't really have that much of an idea about what they want to do or what their goal is, or really what they want to accomplish. And it's about helping them lay the foundations and lay the groundwork, and getting them in a better position to succeed. So I remember one of my kids, by the time we were finished, he, wrote me a letter and, just talked about how powerful his experience was, being here with us on campus. And I asked him toward the end of his, membership and everything with us. He's, moving on to George Mason, and he's going to graduate with honors, and he's, got all these cool things going on for himself. But he was not involved in, sports performance in any way, shape, or form. He wanted to be a movie critic, and he said, what really is there for me as a small town kid in Warrenton, Virginia? All the media is out west. How am I possibly going to gain a following or gain someone's eye to step into this world? And I just kept having more and more conversation with this individual, and just again, it's all about saying, what if, right? Make it a possibility, continue to believe in what could be. And in the internet age, I mean, anything is possible, right? Absolutely anything is possible. So it's much easier to get connected with people. He's since started his own website, and he's doing his movie reviews, and it's very cool to see where he was in his mindset. And it was a relatively dark place. There's some things that happened to him and his family that were certainly very challenging. But to see the evolution and to find a new perspective, and that came through movement, fitness, health, just kind of a refocusing. And he said he really just kept showing up because he felt like he was in an environment that really cared and wanted something better for him. And it was probably one of the most powerful coaching experiences that I've ever had. So
and you certainly turned out a lot of champions. You've had so many champions in your practice. You primarily do young folks. I'm much more the odd guy out. You're surrounded by young people, and they're all doing great things academically and in sports and moving. The thing that I learned about movement is that my brain doesn't even operate well if I don't move. Like if I don't move, if I have a sedentary day, it's not so great. I mean, I do have small, I have lower loads where I'm not riding my bike 20 miles, or I'm not doing, any number of things. But if I totally don't move, I have a big setback. It's a problem.
We could talk about that concept, for days, right? Where are we at as a population? Where are we at as a community? How few people are actually, moving or getting the required amount of exercise that they should.
And it is few. What are the statistics? Like half of America exercises? That's not good.
It's not very good. I mean, we can look at a few different stats, and we talk about okay, we've got the recommended level of exercise, and we've got varying intensities and different things that we could kind of dabble with. But the bottom line is, as a whole, when we look at if we chop this down and say like, okay, what's the real mission here? What are we trying to accomplish? Obviously. For the youth, it might be a little bit different. For our, general population, I really would hope that our general population would be inspired to set a better habit and a better example for the younger people in the population, the next generation, right? That's what we always talk about. What's the next generation look like? So, Are we doing a good job laying the groundwork for the next generation right now? And unfortunately, we're not. So there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of inspiring left to be done. And I hope that, we can continue to make, drastic improvements, and, helping people find ways to move, because it's not necessarily in a gym all the time, right? It could be, you talked about biking, it could be hiking, it could be swimming, it could be dancing. There's a whole number of things, right, that we could be doing to, just get out there and find ways to be healthier.
Well, and I think, you've inspired me to, the bike ride that we've done for a decade. That's been a fundraiser. We've now since expanded it to Hike and Bike America, because we really want to include everybody. We want to include as many people as we can in in bridging that gap of no exercise. We want people to get in the habit of moving. And we're doing that this year. We've expanded it so we can include more people. But the thing that I love about what you do is that your athletes inspire others to move more, to be more, to, put themselves out there. So I think for a long time, people didn't want to participate in things like that because they felt like they had to be, an Olympian or some super hard body that could,
Right.
Conquer it all. But that, if I can do any of this, anybody can. Like nobody, I had mobility issues. I remember when you started me jumping rope 50 pounds ago, which was well after I lost a lot of weight. And it was like the whole building would be like, boom, boom, boom. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. But, it not only woke up my body, but it woke up my inner child to know that I could do some of these things that were really fun to do. And I do try to do some of that. I mean, we worked on skipping of all things. And
Right.
which guess what? When you're older, I don't think I'm old, but when you age, you tend to grab a toe, you trip more. People break hips and legs that way. So marching, skipping, all of those things have been great for me. And they've really kind of woken up I don't know what the right word is, but it's sparked my inner child to want to be more active that way. And so I certainly appreciate you for your help and all the help that you give so many young people, so many inspired athletes, and then people such as myself who have been able to keep my stamina up, keep going, getting stronger, better every day, even through like surgeries and COVID and crazy stuff. So we know that movement has to be part of the recipe. It's not necessarily about, size or looking beautiful. It's about feeling beautiful and feeling and being healthy. And so you've inspired that. I'm so grateful to you, Chris. And I know your many, many team members and students that you have are as grateful for you. We follow Divergent on social media. We see all the kids getting into colleges, kids that maybe wouldn't be going, that you have helped, inspire to move further, go further, be bigger, be more. It's all great. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for inspiring young and old alike and keeping people moving. You're doing a great job. I appreciate the support to not only myself, but to the Less Cancer mission, and appreciate that you're inspiring so many people and they too are working to inspire.
Well, the mission is cohesive and aligned, and thanks for allowing me a chance to come on and discuss some of these items with you. I think one of the things that you touched on was really, really important earlier, was just talking about your inner child, and I think a lot of people that might have passed on from their childhood years push some of those childish acts to the side, and my advice would be to don't do that. Right, just go ahead and don't forget what it feels like to be a kid. It's some of our hopefully happiest moments in our lives. We've, like you said, we've skipped, we've jumped, we've picked up a baseball bat every once in a while, kicked the soccer ball. There's so many different options and opportunities out there to get people moving. So,
not to jump on what you're saying, and I do have to say this about the soccer ball. Walking is not really my thing. I'm a little bit ADD. I get a little bored. I take that soccer ball on walks now. I kick it around the block. I kick it down the street. I just keep on kicking it. And it keeps me going. It's like chasing a toddler in the park. So that whole soccer ball thing was brilliant on your part. And anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, no, just encourage everyone to keep exploring movement in different ways. And if you had a childhood, favorite sport event, activity, go back to it, see where it kind of takes you, see where it might lead you. It
Hitting
might
the
be,
baseball is pretty fun. I was pretty big loser at that. That's a lot of fun. I love doing it. So
it is
that's
a lot
fun
of
too.
fun. That's right. Yeah. And we're moving, we're doing what we got to do. So, again, thanks. And, we'll keep the mission rolling.
Thank you, Chris, and keep inspiring. We appreciate you a lot. Thanks.